Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Gear Up. Here's what's in store for you today. A potential Cy Young candidate signs a big deal with his current team. Terrell Pryor is selected in the NFL Supplemental Draft. History is made at the Little League World Series, and 3 key players are placed on the disabled list in the major leagues. I'm Michael Peters, and you're watching Gear Up. Breaking news. The Los Angeles Angels signed Jared Weaver to a 5-year, $85 million contract. Weaver is a possible Cy Young candidate with, he's leading the American League in ERA and is second in complete games. His ERA is 2.10 and he has 4 complete games. 3 players are placed on the MLB disabled list. They are Philly shortstop Jimmy Rollins on the 15-day DL with a groin injury, Twins pitcher Nick Blackburn also on the 15-day DL with a right forearm strain, and Indians DH Travis Hafner with a strained right foot. We'll see how much impact that has with division races heating up. The Twins are far back, but the Phillies lead their league, and the Indians are trying to push past the Tigers to get into the playoffs. Here are last night's MLB scores. The Tigers beat the Rays 5-2 as Justin Verlander becomes the first MLB pitcher this season to get 19 wins. The Nationals beat the Diamondbacks 4-1 as the Diamondbacks have now lost a season-high 6 straight games. The Seattle Mariners beat the Cleveland Indians 3-2 on Franklin Gutierrez's sac fly in the 9th inning. The Texas Rangers shut out the Boston Red Sox 4-0 in a possible playoff matchup. The Phillies beat the Mets 10-0 as they earn their MLB best 82nd win. The Orioles beat the Twins 4-1 as they snapped their 5-game losing streak. The Rockies best the Astros 9-5 as Carlos Gonzalez gets his 22nd home run. The Dodgers edged the Cardinals 2-1 as a moth gets stuck in Cardinals outfielder Matt Holliday's ear in the 8th inning. Holliday was taken into a dark room, and the moth was attempted to be lured out by a flashlight. When that didn't work, an instrument was used to pry the live moth out of Holliday's ear. The Braves beat the Cubs 3-0 as they've won their 5th straight game now, and Dan Uggla also hits his 30th home run of the season last night. Now, remember, before Dan Uggla's 30-plus game hitting streak, he had a sub-200 average. So 30 home runs, which is great for anybody, especially for him. He's made a total turnaround on the season. In the first game of a doubleheader, the Brewers beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 8-1 as Ryan Braun got his 25th home run. But in the second game, the Pirates got revenge by beating the Brewers 9-2. That's the Brewers' 4th loss in 23 games, so as you can see, they've been on a real hot streak lately. At the Little League World Series, Keystone Little League from Clinton County, Pennsylvania, which is about 30 miles from Williamsport, throws a no-hitter to avoid elimination last night. The game only lasted 4 innings, but because of the 10-run rule, they won 10-0. Still, that's a very impressive feat. Here are the MLB standings. In the AL East, the New York Yankees lead the Boston Red Sox by 1 game. The Tampa Bay Rays are 8.5 games back. The Toronto Blue Jays are 13 games back, and the Baltimore Orioles are 29 games back. In the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers have a 5.5 game lead over both the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Indians. They both have a .500 record. The Minnesota Twins are 14 games back, and the Kansas City Royals are 17.5 games back. In the AL West, the Texas Rangers have a 4.5 game lead on the Los Angeles Angels. The Oakland A's are 16 games back, and the Seattle Mariners are 18.5 games back. In the NL East, the Philadelphia Phillies with the best record in baseball at 82-44, have a 6.5 game lead over the Atlanta Braves. The Washington Nationals are 20 games back. The New York Mets are 22.5 games back, and the Florida Marlins are 25.5 games back. In the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers have a 9-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cincinnati Reds are 13.5 games back. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 15.5 games back. The Cubs are 20 games back, and with the worst record in baseball, 42-86. The Houston Astros are 34 games back.